back to Toyota Sports Talk. I told everyone it was the Russell Show today. We just wrapped up with Chris Russell. Now we have Jake Russell. Does a great job with the Washington Post. Jake, good to see you. How have you been?
Fantastic. Better now that I know I'm following up the great Chris Russell.
It's always a good day when we can have a Russell Show. So thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk Nats. We've talked all things Commanders, it feels like, all day, every day. Would love to talk Nats and really just kind of dive into what you've noticed so far. So far, we're over a month into this season. I've got kind of high hopes for this team in terms of, not as maybe as bad as people expected, but I want to hear your thoughts. What have you seen from this squad?
Yeah, I feel the same way. It started out really badly when they were 1-6. I mean, I know it was a tough schedule for them to start out with the Phillies and then the Blue Jays and then the Dodgers, but they've come out on the other side pretty well. They've played above 500 baseball since they've started out 1-6. So I feel like the scrappy Nats are coming back a little bit. The bullpen obviously is the biggest issue on this team so far, but they seem to have been coming around, find themselves a little bit. The Nats finally made a move there with letting go Colin Poche and bringing in Andrew Chafin in his replacement in his spot. Right now, the bats have been when the offense is quiet, it is super silent. But when it's going well, you've seen what they can do. So right now, it's just a matter of them getting into a bit of a rhythm and putting the pieces together and having this combination games where the starting pitching has been pretty consistent all season. Keep that going, and then get the bats to follow along, and then have the bullpen steady itself the rest of the year.
Yeah, and I'm so glad, and I can probably speak for all of DC, that they made a change with that bullpen. This is a front office that doesn't make a lot of moves like that, so it proves just how atrocious this bullpen has been that they brought in Chafin.
Yeah, last I checked, having a double-digit ERA is not good. You kind of want to have it as low as possible. Last I checked, I'm no expert, but last I checked, if you have an ERA that's above double digits, that's not great.
No, not at all. So I'm glad they made a move there. Let's move on and talk about the young bloods. There were so many eyes on Dylan Crews and James Wood to start the season. It looks like Wood, picking up where he did last season. Crews struggled a bit at the beginning of the year, but has since found his way a little bit.
Yeah, when you watched him last season, you did not predict such a slow start for 2025 for him. But then he seemed to get it together for a few weeks. But then recently he started to go back down and revert back to his early season form. I think he'll get that figured out. He's a pro, and I like the way. When I mean he's a pro, is the way he goes about things. He doesn't let it frazzle him. He doesn't let a bad start get to him. You just see him. His body language, his approach is still the same. He just chips away and chips away. He knows eventually, if he keeps going after it, things will work in his favor. James Wood looks like a grizzled vet. I like his approach when times are tough, because when times are tough, he has that nonchalant, it doesn't bother me attitude. So that's one thing you need as a pro. You can't let anything bother you. But when things are going well, it'd be nice to see him, show a little more emotion. I don't need him to be like celebrating, like spiking a football in the end zone or anything and having a dance celebration or anything like that. But it'd be nice to see him like appreciate himself a little more when he has those big plays. He is playing like a grizzled vet. He's showing that power that everyone knew he had. He's not letting the expectations from the offseason affect how he plays at all. He's just going up there, playing his own game. So I like the way he runs and the way his effort and just his overall demeanor and approach to the game.
Let's talk MacKenzie Gore a little bit and maybe some of the guys in this starting rotation. Pretty solid to start the year, especially for Gore.
Yeah, I'd say. Obviously, that's the as far as pitching goes, the starting rotation has been what the Nats have been hanging their hat on, especially MacKenzie Gore. MacKenzie Gore seems to be kind of taking what he learned from last season and putting it into practice this year. He's got a really high strikeout to walk ratio right now. He's not letting the bad scenarios snowball like he used to. He's a little more mature in his approach in terms of how he handles bad situations. And he's showing what he could be. He's showing that why he was one of the centerpieces of that Juan Soto trade. Some of the other guys like Jake Irvin and Mitchell Parker have had fantastic performances, but they're also a little bit up and down, especially Mitchell Parker of late, which is kind of surprising considering how hot he started. I think overall, regarding the starting pitching situation, they're pretty well set for the rest of the season.
All right, we'll take it. I want to do a 180 and talk a little bit about the defenders before I let you go. Pretty good start to the Harris era, I would say. There was so much kind of crazy going on with this squad just days before the season began with the head coaching change. What is going on with this squad? What have you noticed? Because it's looking pretty decent for the defenders.
Yeah, the team, as good as they, despite how good they can be, they are still not completely polished. They have a lot of room to grow. Um, and yeah, as you brought up, Shannon Harris, he energizes that team, and in a way I wasn't certain that he would be able to do, especially when just a couple days before the season, or about a week before the season started, head coach Reggie Barlow left to join Tennessee State University as their head coach. Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator, left midway through the season, and his son Blake Williams took over as defensive coordinator. So with all of these changes happening, it is a surprise, I think, in a positive direction for the Defenders that they're playing as well as they are. They're tied with three other teams with a 4-2 record. But
Yeah.
so we'll see what the rest of the season brings for them.
All right, but it's sounding like even when we look down the line for this team, more changes are going to be coming to DC.
Yeah, I feel like they'll have a whole new coaching staff this season or next season. And who knows what kind of offense and defenses they'll run. Who knows how different the roster is going to be. Yeah, I expect a lot of changes for them when this season ends.
All right, Jake Russell, great stuff as always. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it as always.